So I thought really hard. Looked at the choices. What's going to be my second profession? I looked really hard. Opening windows out of question. People want windows closed, shut. Absolutely, breeze should come, but regulated. All kinds of breeze, normal air, Titan air, nevertheless. Second profession was, I was a professional hyphen maker. Whenever there were long words, I put hyphenate nationalisms in between those words. For example, say patriotism. I put a hyphen after T and before the I. Assassination. I chose better places for hyphen. One after ass, one after IN, maybe the one before the nation. I just kept putting hyphens. Hyphens all over the place. What sort of hyphen? Elongated hyphens, short hyphens, confused semicolon, masqueraded as hyphen. I kept hyphening names, all kinds of names, so that the words get broken. You're not prisoners of long words. They don't hang heavy on you. They don't come between you and your humanism. They won't come between you and your absolute innate sense of reaching out. That absolute fundamental of trying to understand that somebody in south of Yunnan, somebody in north of Dundee, somebody in west of Sudan, somebody in south of Tahrir Square cannot only say that this is revolution. This is also a type of revolution. Let's generally debate. Or that old Mahmoud Darwish line. Each time I looked at the Palestinian map, I wasn't sure. Is it map? Is it memory? Or are they hired words spoken in a higher circumstance in this borrowed higher time? What would I kept putting hyphens. All kinds of hyphens. Hyphens here, hyphens there, hyphens elsewhere. Between two people, a small hyphen. Just to tell them, you've got to make this hyphen disappear and come a little closer. Between two people, a little more hyphen. Disappear the hyphen and make them come closer. Breath meets breath. Hands meet hands. Legs meet legs. And somewhere down the line, hyphens start disappearing because you've questioned the word itself and not who wrote it. You've questioned the reality of shedding the blood of Christ and not just the legacy of God. You've questioned what makes a single drop of water not reach Hassan and Hussein. You were not bothered. Is he a shishya? Is he a shia? Is he a sunni? He's a martyr. Period. Full stop. You asked questions. How did Kabir die? He was born in Banaras. What about his death? The official bullshit of two communities fought and he became flower, or the fact that he went to Maghar, or the fact that he spent his last days amongst the underclass, just to borrow the term, or that he decided to stay in that so-called shunned atmosphere, actually making a new kind of comradeship, and finally decided to give up his body there. Go back to the Maghar station on the cord line from Banaras and hear a different kind of non-Kabir project. Hear them out and find out why Kabir to you wrote a different kind of prison notebook, and you need not borrow it from some Antonio Gramsci. And if I haven't read that, I'm perfectly okay. I'm absolutely fine that my Kabir is Julius Fuchik and I'm not failing in my exams. Hyphens. And the hyphen in the word hyphen itself. I kept asking questions. When Thanjam Manorama dies, apparently because she was conspiring against the state. Fair enough, I don't agree with your version. But let's for once assume that you were right. You come inside the house and you shoot in self-defense. Fair enough, I agree with your version. Then how did the bullet in a magic realist way get lodged in the vagina? In which act of self-defense the bullet floats in the vagina, Madam Vagina Monologue? How does it come, madam? Is it a hyphen? Is it a way to say, hello? We'll kill you from where your ideas get conceived. Or rather, we can also do that. We are creative. When we shoot at sight, we shoot at all kinds of sight. S-I-G-H-T, S-I-T-E. Depending if the metaphor is industrial and Kalinganagar or private and Manipur. We shoot at sight. I kept hyphen. Hyphen here, hyphen there, hyphen elsewhere. Hyphen in your watch, hyphen in my hands, hyphen in your striped shirt, hyphen with the pen asking the question, should I put the hyphen or should I not? And then they took all the dictionaries away, shut down the spell check, took away my words, somewhere down the line said, you have no right to put hyphens because we own the language. We've merely outsourced to you. Like neutral accent and call center. You have two kinds of English. The centered English and the call centered English. You have two kinds of accent. So similarly, your hyphens can be of two kinds. The educated hyphen and the positioned hyphen. This anarchist hyphen can't happen. You have to let go of it. So I let go of it. I let go of all the hyphen. They just somehow got stuck in the body. Memories of the hyphen. Memories of opening windows. Memories of thinking that the doors were like windows. You've got to generally open it. Memories of carrying all kinds of things on your body. As soon as you walk, it generally falls by. Windows, doors, words, sound, circumstances, movements, the roll of the dice, and my third profession. What's your third profession? Well, my third profession. My third profession was whenever I saw a perfectly beautiful glass window, I took this small stone from the street, and generally when nobody is looking, I threw a small bit of the chip of the stone on the window, so there's a small crack. If you don't allow the windows to open, at least some outsourced breeze will go inside. Too many architecturally important intangible heritage buildings got spoiled in the process. Somewhere down the line, the other ones which got outsourced to the outsourcing so that a new thing came. Then there are two kinds of word. One is called far because we live far off. And another far is called floor area ratio. Two kinds of fars emerged. One that was really far and one that was far from being far. And I kept throwing stones in all kinds of areas. 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, million BHKs, zillion BHKs, the BHKs of the BHKs, the B is disappearing, the H not happening, and in the K somebody is asking a question that what is the G in NREGA? 100 days? 200 nights? 20% off to the panchayat? Where do I belong? I kept throwing stones. Smaller ones, bigger ones, of course, making it a point, absolutely making it a point that I don't hurt anybody. And finally, they said, according to Armed Forces Special Power Act 1958, throwing stones is intent. Intent is treason. Treason is felony. Felony is problematic. Problematic is a definition of you. And the definition of you is even more problematic because we don't want you to happen. We want a standardized us. So you're hereby arrested without a general lawyer's trial for a period of time as AFSPA does. The stone disappeared. My third profession died a unnatural death. Two more and I'm professionless. Kalpana, two more and I'm professionless. I'm writing this long letter to you. It's almost been 1.5 decades. They picked you up, their body never came back, Kalpana. What happened to Cholesh Richil in Rangamati? Pradeep Eknali Goda in Sri Lanka? What happens to now, then, there, everywhere? What happened to those outsourced words? What happened to that line of Cherabanda Raju that you need a tree? You need that tree to flower. You need that tree to bloom. You need that beautiful tree. I'm sorry I've cut down that tree because I badly need the house. I need my fourth profession, yeah? 5 fingers, 5 hands, at least 5 professions before becoming professionless, before not being able to fit into anywhere, just being absolute loner who masquerades art as vomit and vomit as art. What's your fourth profession? My fourth profession. My fourth profession is moving in, moving out. Moving in, moving out. Searching in, searching out. Moving here, moving there, moving elsewhere. Here, there, elsewhere. What is your fifth profession? The penultimate one before you arrive at the fifth. My fourth profession was I bought huge amount of envelopes, blank yellow envelopes, and blank yellow pieces of paper inside the envelope, and posted them at various places all over the world, hoping to the right to each other. Physically right. They must write to each other. Search and write. Move and write. Turn and write. Shift and write. They must write letters to each other. Two people must talk in writing, keeping a record. February 1983, Nelly happened. The Rohingyas are the floating boat people who get kicked out by Burma in the night and Bangladesh in the morning. And somewhere down the line, Kalpana, are you paying because you're talking too much? Somewhere down the line in the west of Rangamati in Bangladesh and east of Agartala in Tripura, a young Chakma boy says, I don't fit into your nationalism. I don't even fit into mine. Where do I go from here? How much more? A Pandal says, even the Manipuri protest is a Meitei protest. Is it a problem first being a Muslim and second being a Manipuri Muslim? Because in the mainstream struggle, completely, legibly and correctly waged by secular people inside the faith of Islam, why am I left out? Why? A Northeast, B Manipuri, C Muslim. I have my Sharmila. Why am I missing out? Why our body is not talking? Letter after letter, envelope after envelope, I'm writing. I'm carrying bodies all over my place, slowly taking them elsewhere, telling people to write to each other. Write, not PDF, not attachment, not Photoshop, not booking your face, not digitally poking. Write. Just write to each other. One day somebody said, shut up. You don't write anymore. That was a signal for all the professions to be given up and the fifth and the last profession to start. So I'm ready with my fifth and the last profession to begin. Fifth and my absolutely last profession. After that, I'm professionless. No profession at all. I gathered my senses, took my friend on the shoulder, told him, hang on there, hang on. There's some more miles to walk. There's some more mountains, some more ridges to climb. I decided to invest all my money into buying 1,000,000 square kilometers, a zillion kilometers of bandage. Because my last profession was to set up a hospital for machine guns. But on each particular bed, we bandage the guns and tell them, our point of view comes from sane regulation. Let's stop now. Not as fascist, non-fascist force, but purely to reason in between of selling out and not selling out, and still keeping some fundamentals alive. Okay, Pranb. 1947s, 1956, AK-47s, AK-56, plastic Kalashnikov, the real ones, asking all kinds of questions. Questions that don't silence the gun, but understand that they need to be nurtured to the point that it talks, converses. It may go nowhere. It may fall over. It might be a total re-evolving, remapping of the society. But the remapping still needs first the bomb to be put, the gashes to be stitched up so that the blood doesn't come out, and not irrational people coming to irrational solutions. I'm convinced that in an article you wrote, you can be Gandhian and Marxist at the same time. You chose to write those lines. A private admission is, I believe in those lines, in exactly those words, in that order. And the first order has to be indigenous, if the second order has come to me by way of influence. Okay, come here. Come. Let's bandage guys. Now. Come. Let's bandage the gun. We come. We'll set up huge hospitals where we won't have people. Bed after bed, starched white bed sheets, and we'll slowly put those white bed sheets, putting the gun to sleep in the night, telling them nobody is standing in the morning as a point or encounter point. Nobody is standing in the morning to create private butler houses. Nobody is standing in the morning to look at the literature that you keep in the house, to look at what your influences are. Because the influences have to be manifested if you shape and ask uncomfortable questions. And the day you stop asking uncomfortable questions is the day we run out of languages. Because we try to be a fascist bandage. Come, let's take a real one, sir. Come. Come, let's walk. Come. Wake up. Hey, hello, wake up. Wake up. Chalo, get ready. Get ready, wake up. You've got to walk. Chalo, come. Wake up. Wake up, sit straight. Sit straight. You've got to walk. Sit straight. You've got to pick up all kinds of 6th December. The one which the bricks made no sense, and the one in which one of the finest Indian thinkers passed away on the same day. In another day, in another time. Come, let's walk. Walk slowly. Walk so that we can pick up all kinds of things. Walk so that nobody comes in the hospital and plonks you, plucks you out. Nobody does this. They only do this. Just this. Okay, come here. Let's create more such humane hospitals where we bandage guns, not in exchange of silence, bullets or sellouts, but in exchange of one final non-state civil society coming from somewhere without any dogmatic conversation. Come. They said, who are you to initiate the process? Who are you to initiate the process? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Do other things here. We'll give you fellowships to do the right kind of theatre. We'll give you sponsorships to do the right kind of protest. We'll give you better lights, better sound, better platforms to do the right kind of things. Mass theatre happens only with the masses. This is too elite, this is too small. But then you take decisions in small notes, in elite niches. Where does the mass happen at that point of time? Which art is elitist? Just the Black Kurta street play? Where a repository of 48 songs has been sung for over 248 years? Hello, new songs! And which ones, yeah? The one who was assassinated in 2nd and 3rd of January. The same person was also skeptical about all kinds of theatre. And the family and the lineage have divided one assassination into 3 NGOs. You're talking about that kind of theatre? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'd rather bandage machine guns rather than take that progressive bullshit. And if you mean that means giving up my profession, fair enough, yeah. Avtar Singh Sandhu, before he left for Canada, was gunned down. You might now call him Pash. At the end of the day, there were huge amounts of electric shock that just put Gorakh's body on fire. At the end of the day, somewhere down the line, from 1991 onwards, Egypt Defense Minister happens to be the Army General. He still hasn't resigned. Mubarak has. Are your targets one or are your targets manifold? Which words? With sound! And if you don't want me, take away my bandage here. Yeah? I'll leave this hospital abandoned. I'll just leave this hospital abandoned. On one hand, the mashed brains of a primary school teacher. On another hand, a completely still body of Azad. Between the two, I don't know what to bandage anymore. Because you just don't want us to talk. Kalpana, it's time to go back home. It's evening in Agartala. We have the same government in West Bengal also. There's a shared solidarity of different kinds. You're a different kind of single.